Most people spend 30 years building a retirement plan and blow the entire thing with one decision made in the wrong month for the wrong reason. That decision is when to claim Social Security. 62 is the age where the government essentially sets a trap and 2/3 of Americans walk right into it. Or maybe they don't. Maybe the trap is actually waiting. That's the uncomfortable part nobody wants to sit with. Every financial planner has a strong opinion. Every Reddit thread has a hot take. And the Social Security Administration actually had a calculator on their website at one point to help people navigate this decision, and then they quietly took it down because users were treating it like a final verdict instead of a starting point. Let that sink in for a second. The government built a tool to help citizens make one of the most consequential financial decisions of their entire lives, watched people systematically misuse it, and said, you know what? Let's just remove the thing entirely. Typical. So today I'm going to walk you through 7 legitimate reasons why claiming Social Security at 62 actually makes sense. Not because it's the right move for everyone, but because the math involved is far more layered than anyone is letting on. I'll explain how this decision actually works, why the standard advice to just wait until 70 might be actively costing some of you money, and why your health history, your spouse, your investment portfolio, and even what the stock market is doing all have a real seat at this table. This is the video I wish had existed before I spent hours buried in actuarial tables and Social Security claiming strategies, of which there are apparently over 700 distinct variations. I also built a free early retirement calculator because most of the ones you'll find online are mathematically flawed. They skip key variables that firms like BlackRock and Vanguard actually incorporate into their modeling. It uses that same institutional logic to identify the soft spots in your retirement plan. I only ask for your email to deliver the report, so none of your financial data gets stored anywhere. Link is in the description. Now, before we get into the 7 reasons, let me give you the central analogy I'll be using throughout this entire video, because it genuinely makes everything click into place. Think of Social Security like a pressurized faucet. There's a pipe inside the wall, and it's been building pressure the entire time. Every year you hold off, more pressure accumulates. When you finally turn the faucet on, the water comes out faster and with more force. Wait until 70, and you've got maximum pressure behind it. But here's the thing people miss. That faucet belongs to you. You spent your entire working life paying into it. And if you hold off too long before turning it on, some of that water never gets used. It just sits in the pipe. It evaporates. Nobody reimburses you for the pressure that built up. The entire debate around Social Security timing basically comes down to one question. When do you open the faucet? And the answer most financial planners give you, wait, delay, be patient, completely ignores the fact that some people have perfectly rational reasons to open it early. 7 of them, specifically. Let's build out the model first so you understand what you're actually working with. I'm going to use a hypothetical person, call him Josh. Josh earned around $90,000 in his final working year, which lands at roughly half the current Social Security wage cap. That's a realistic number for someone in the upper middle class. Josh has 3 paths in front of him. He can claim at 62 and receive roughly $2,238 per month. He can wait until his full retirement age, which for most people watching this is 67, and collect around $3,198 per month. Or he can delay all the way to 70 and pull in $3,966 a month. The classic break-even framework says you figure out which option puts more total dollars in your pocket by the time you die. Straightforward math, right? Claim early and take smaller payments over more months, or claim late and take bigger payments over fewer months. The crossover point, the break-even, lands somewhere around your early 80s. And here's where things get genuinely interesting. The Social Security Administration actually models an average life expectancy of around 84 years for someone who has already reached age 62, not 79. The 79 figure is life expectancy at birth. If you've made it to 62 without a serious health event, The actuarial tables suggest you've probably got about 22 more years ahead of you. That puts you at 84. So if Josh lives to 84 and claims at 62 with zero cost of living adjustments factored in, he collects roughly $615,000 in total benefits. If he waits until 67, his monthly check is larger, but he has fewer months to collect it, and he ends up behind overall. Claiming early wins by approximately $72,000. But before you think this settles it, change the life expectancy assumption by just 3 years. Drop it from 84 down to 81, and suddenly waiting until full retirement age becomes the better play. Drop it 6 years to 78, and claiming at 62 versus waiting until 67 produces nearly identical lifetime totals. The optimal strategy in that lower life expectancy scenario turns out to be claiming at 65, right in the middle of the range. You think the problem is simply early versus late, but the actual problem is that you don't know when you're going to die. Nobody does. And that fundamental uncertainty is the entire game you're playing. Now let's get into something that almost never comes up in the basic break-even conversation, which is the cost of living adjustment, or COLA. In the standard break-even model, people typically set COLA to 0. But every single year, Social Security benefits are adjusted upward to account for inflation. And here's the compounding piece that changes the math significantly. If your base benefit is higher because you delayed, your COLA increases are proportionally larger too. It's the exact same mechanism as compound interest working in your favor. Think about it this way. Someone claiming at 62 might see their annual benefit grow by around $640 after a typical COLA adjustment. Someone who delayed to 70 and built a larger base sees that same percentage add over $1,140 to their yearly check. Same inflation rate, completely different dollar outcome, and that gap widens every single year you're both alive. Over a full retirement lifetime, that difference compounds into something enormous. When you fold realistic COLA assumptions back into the model, the difference between delaying to 70 versus claiming at 62 balloons to $246,000. Not $70,000, $246,000. That's an entirely different decision you're looking at. By the way, if you're finding this useful, go ahead and subscribe, because YouTube's algorithm may genuinely never surface my content to you again otherwise. Now, with all that context established, let's go through the 7 situations where claiming at 62 is a logical, defensible, and genuinely unemotional decision. Reason 1. Your health is legitimately poor, or your family history is a serious red flag. This is the most obvious one on the list, but people still feel strangely awkward saying it directly. If your father died at 73, your grandfather at 71, and you've already had a significant cardiac event, the break-even math shifts in a major way. Holding out for a larger monthly payment doesn't benefit you if you're not around long enough to collect enough of it. Claiming early ensures you actually extract meaningful value from a system you contributed to for decades. The faucet analogy hits hardest here. If the pipe is already leaking, you open the faucet now. Reason 2. You want to actually experience your retirement while you still have the physical capacity to enjoy it. This gets dismissed as emotional reasoning, but it's genuinely rational when you look at the data. There's solid evidence that spending behavior in retirement follows a predictable arc. High in the early active years, moderate in the middle slower years, and quite low in the final years when mobility and energy have declined significantly. The money you have access to at 63 is not equivalent to the money you have at 79, even when the dollar amounts are identical, because your ability to actually use it is not the same. There's a story that stays with me about a man who spent his entire career practicing delayed gratification, always waiting for the right moment, the better salary, the bigger portfolio. If your optimal strategy completely reverses with a small change in one variable, that tells you the margin of error is thin and you need more information before you commit to a path. Second, if you have a spouse, do not analyze Social Security as an individual decision in isolation. Model your combined household benefits as a coordinated strategy. including spousal benefits and survivor benefits. The filing decision for one partner has direct and significant implications for the other. Third, if you're currently navigating a market downturn, a low-income year, or a family health crisis, those are precisely the moments to revisit your filing timeline rather than defaulting to a plan you made in calm conditions years earlier. The Social Security Administration removed that break-even calculator because people were treating a starting point as a final answer. Don't be that person.